Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello. Hi. How you guys? Do we have with us a guest co-host? He's an entrepreneur and ambassador. Bless him. Awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Tell us something about you. Our viewers are seeing you on Your View for the first time. Tell us something about you that we don't know.
My name is Blessing. Also, I'm the CEO of Calabar Aroma Restaurants. We are in Abuja. It just opened like a month.
So yeah, those Calabar babes, they're still there.
We are just opened in Lagos in Lekki first one.
Ah, nice. So you cook?
Yeah.
You do any kaikong and all that?
I've been on a program here as well, like when I did the fisherman soup.
Oh my God, we're going to be best friends.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about fisherman soup and how amazing it is?
Yeah, right now we are the most talked about restaurant now in Lagos.
Don't use us for publicity. Calm down.
Fisherman
Don't come on public. But that's fisherman soup you're talking about.
Yes.
Ah,
I don't know her own, but I mean, I just discovered fisherman soup.
Okay,
and
I would like
love
to try the fisherman soup.
Yeah.
Is it stew or soup?
Soup.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you cook well. I need to want to learn from you.
Yes,
I'm a terrible cook, like really. I just get by. But I would like to come and learn some nice Calabar cuisine.
Yeah. And you know we are good at it, right?
Yeah, I can see. Anyway, good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Hi there, Mariam.
I'm
What's up?
doing fine,
What's
thank
going
you.
on?
I mean, it's just one day and I feel like it's a whole new week. I feel like I've been home the weekend. Really, nothing has happened. I'm just trying to settle in. For most people, when they get in January...
You're only gone for 1 week, honey.
I know.
Settle in.
No, let me tell you what has happened. See, many people, when they start the month in January, they are sort of prepared for the new year. But for me, I find out that January is still the month that I'm struggling to find my feet. Then by February, then I sort of get into the groove of things. I mean, my house is so dusty and everything. This harmattan made everything worse. All the helps will leave for Christmas and don't come back.
I'm telling you, that happens all the time. You're constantly looking for help, sir.
So that's where we are right now. But
that's good. So you got to help now? You
yes,
gotta help? Oh,
yes,
fantastic.
yes.
How are you doing,
So
Nimat Akasha Zibire?
yes, so this morning I want to shout out to the women who sweep the roads, because as bad as Mautu is, Loma, if those women are part of you, they are doing a great job that day. But your collection is still at a zero level. You need to collect the waste, and people need to see it being collected. You know the population of the entire Badagry axis, Badagry Expressway axis is much. So the waste they will generate there, of course, you should be able to project what daily quantity to be per day, and the collection should be smooth.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is, but I think collection is the problem, because those women, that early, as dark as it was, they were already sweeping this morning. All done, madams. God bless all of you.
I see them too. On my street, in the mornings, once in a while, I just give them drinks, because I could tell they're really tired.
Nice.
They're really tired, and they get really worn out easily. And sometimes they don't pick them up quickly. So they're under the sun, waiting to get picked up. So whenever you drive past them, I think it's important for you to at least give them something.
It's a risky job, because
it's a risky job.
Yeah.
But if a client of mine that came yesterday wanted a shout out for Moriah, and the ladies as well, Obi Ajulu, she says she's a big fan for. No, a client that came into the firm yesterday, I resumed, I opened the firm yesterday. So
you didn't tell us that one now.
That's
big news. Sorry, guys. All right, it's Thursday. We're gisting all the way. But first, we'll look through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, we'll start with the punch. Operation Amotekun. Governors to meet Buhari as Soyinka Agbakoba. Others lampoon Attorney General of Federation. Motorist commuters spend hours in Lagos-Ibadan Express gridlock. Tell us about it. Ondo community seizes 150 cows for destroying farmlands. Pastor lecturer dragged to court for spreading fake news. Imo, I have 39 more prophecies, says Father Mbaka. Another alleged OAU Randy lecturer placed on half salary. Armed Forces Day, Buhari, Osinbajo, Lawan, others eulogize fallen heroes. Uzodinma sworn in, begins probe of ex-governors, and sister denies account opened by her, for her by Maina. Let's start with human interest story. First of all, let's start with the gridlock. There was a truck that fell in Lagos about an expressway, and people spent 4 hours for a truck,
The
just
whole
to get
of
to the beggar
yesterday was
bus
sort
stop.
of traffic reading. So the Korodu Road axis, 2 trucks had fallen, and Ada was saying, you know, today there's a broken down truck on the Ojo-Elegba Road, and another one happened on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which of course was in. And then there's an influx of trucks in Lagos presently. Yeah. All of them don't resume work. So the tankers are on my end, the containers, everything. Yeah.
What's up with the pastor? The lecture he was dragged to court for
Blessing has that
speaking. Yeah, did you read that story? Okay. I read that story. Remember the I think it was in Ondo. Somebody passed. There was a fake news about the fact that the pastor had buried a placenta that caused problems. So they found the pastor who actually lied and concocted that story, and he's been arrested.
So behind the Ondo cow story.
Yes.
So these 150 cows have been seized by the community in Ondo State for wrecking their farms. And they, according to them, some herders had led their cows into their farms and, of course, destroyed their farm products. And, you know, they seized them, basically.
Actually, the herders ran away. They didn't plan to hurt them. They actually wanted to just arrest them, but they fled like the lion was chasing them.
That's what they said.
So that's what they said. So
but they
got the cows.
You can tell a crop, you can tell a cash crop, you can tell which one is.
So it shows that they purposely led their cows into the farmland.
Okay, moving on to Daily Sun very quickly. Amotekun Southwest Governor Soyinka dare federal government. 9 died, 29 injured in auto crash in Lagos and Niger. Echo currency in Nigeria, 6 other English-speaking ECOWAS nations would hold crucial meeting. Civil war tragedy won't be forgotten or repeated, says presidency. And Imo Guba, Mbaka gloats as Governor Uzodinma takes oath. Father Mbaka, did you have that story? Yes, please tell us.
Yeah, he was just saying that Hope is going to be the governor. He prophesied before time.
Yes.
You know that Hope is going to be the governor of
Uzodinma.
he's going to be the governor, and that's what happened.
Yes.
So a lot of people are not comfortable with prophecy, while some people are like hailing him like
he's gloating that, listen, I told you, and I have 39 more where that came from. So he's like, listen, all my prophecies come to pass, and you see, you must believe and trust that this is where the power of God resides. He didn't say it exactly like that, but that's how he meant.
But definitely, most of his prophecy actually always come to pass.
For real? Like which one?
Like the one he said about Buhari winning election.
That was almost
Even I would have prophesied that. He actually prophesied that, because nobody thought that Buhari is going to win. Because Jonathan was the
okay, that's true. The change agenda. Okay, I remember. Okay, all right.
Okay, so we marked the Armed Forces Day yesterday, and also it was to mark the 50 years for the end of the Civil War. And our president, through his senior special assistant, says we're using this particular occasion, you know, to remember the victims of conflict and honor those on both sides who lost their lives. And also like a reminder that we do not want to go back there, you know, and that we should be careful about the way we, you know, practice politics. And
use ethnic baiting, which I thought was a very interesting phrase. Ethnic baiting and political corruption.
Aggressive regionalism and also ethnic baiting and political corruption.
So if only he himself and the political elites as well will follow this same what they follow suit
and remove nepotism. All those things are part of what adds up.
I read the Southern Middle Belt Forum's letter, and I couldn't myself disagree with some of the things that they laid out. But what the call for war was what I rejected. But those issues that they laid out are very genuine and should be looked into.
Moving on very quickly now to Vanguard, Southwest governors, no going back on Operation Amotekun. Why we pulled down Fela's statue, says Lagos State government. Ile Arugbo judge urges parties to explore out-of-court settlement. Igbo Ihedioha cries foul as Uzodinma takes oath. Nigeria's crude oil production dips by 95,000 barrels per day. Let's start with Fela's statue. Who has that story?
So according to the Lagos State, Fela's statue was pulled out because, you know, the roundabout where is located was causing traffic gridlock, and they've also promised to relocate it to a very good location. We don't know that location yet. I would have expected that all the entire process should have been the I's and the T's, dot the I's and whatever, cross the T's on these issues, because this is a very sensitive issue, and Fela is someone we should honor. And at that same roundabout is another statue. That one is not causing gridlock.
No, but what the spokesperson said, that nobody actually initiated this, except the government initiated this. So nobody asked the government to put up the statue. So they are going to relocate it. So it's not as if they don't appreciate what Fela stands for. But that roundabout, alongside 4 others, there are going to be 5 of them in total, that are going to totally clear out the roundabout and make that place wider so that traffic can go freely.
I think the state government are actually doing a lot in trying to reduce traffic.
Okay.
You know, because traffic every day it's terrible. Like me, I'm coming from Abuja, like to come, and I don't understand traffic in Lagos. I like 2 hours inside traffic.
There's traffic in Abuja. You don't have traffic.
No.
Not
We
like
don't have
this
but Abuja roads are wider. Yeah.
Lagos, we don't do
So
this.
it's crazy. So I think what
we like the congestion sometimes.
We do? I don't.
It's
only for commercial
like. Okay, moving on to Daily Trust. Stopping who's taking Amotekun, please? Okay. Stopping Amotekun afterthoughts, say Southwest leaders. Let's find another story here. FG begins implementation of the 7.5% VAT. Why Mama Rosie won Daily Trust African of the Year award. And why North fails to close education gap with South. Let's start with Amotekun. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think the Southwest governors are not doing it badly in trying to fight insecurity. You know, before now, a lot of killings in the Southwest, a lot of things happening. So for them to be able to equip people to be able to fight all this kind, I think the federal government should look into it. They are not here to support it, instead of saying that.
What did the people say today, according to the reports?
Yeah, so the governors, Makinde, Akeredolu, are saying, they're insisting. Okay, so we know that Malami says that this is not legal.
Yes.
But Makinde is saying that Malami does not have that right to say if it is legal or not. Yeah. He is meant to interpret laws. And that they're still going to go ahead with what, you know, Amotekun is supposed to do up until maybe proper sitting will be done about the legality, and then you look at it in the Constitution. They say also the Constitution actually allows for the region to come up with something
talks
like
have
this.
started, like you said, it's a good, a lot of people feel it's a good initiative. Yeah. And Governor Akeredolu has said that they're going to follow this to a logical conclusion. Yeah. All talks are being held, and even Wole Soyinka has said that they're going to
I'd like that both parties test this in the courts, so that we don't have unnecessary back and forth on this.
Okay, the Nigerian Tribune, Soyinka Southwest leaders stand firm. Excuse me, I have moved on, says Ihedio. Did you read his speech? No. I thought it was really inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
JAM suspends registration in 243 centers. Elumelu donates technology center to Ambrose Ali. Civil war. Presidency warns against aggressive regionalism. And FG commences implementation of the VAT increment. Which story are we taking first?
Can we have you have the...
I wanted actually to give a part of his speech. Ooh, I was going to open it up.
Let me just establish what the president did, because, you know, they sworn in Uzodinma as a governor, and immediately he's already trying to probe 3 past governors of the state. I think he should focus on what Imo people need right now. Probe is good. Leave it to the agencies, the EFCC and all that to do. And
he said it was unfair. He felt that the judgment was unfair, but that they truncated the will of Nigeria. He said they truncated the will of the Edo people. But however, he gave a speech, and I like the part of the speech where he said he directed all members of the Imo State Expanded Executive Council and all political appointees to write their handing over notes and return all government properties to their custodians forthwith. Yeah. I shall not be a party to pilfering of government property or funds, which is important because a lot of times when these things happen, they go with the properties. So now that the governor himself has totally exonerated himself that I am not part of this, so please hand over. Yeah. And I think it's important that...
A lot of government people, they always go with government properties, so it's really good.
Yeah. He himself recovered properties from his predecessors.
But what I really think that they need to do is they need to concentrate with the states, how to empower people, how to develop the state instead of probe. They are not in charge of probe. They should leave proof for EFCC.
Right.
Like Hope Uzodinma right now that you're coming, you have a lot to do for the state. So concentrate.
I saw that in Punch, and I honestly, I'm always, I take it with a pinch of salt. I don't think he'll come in and the first thing he wants to do is probing. And I saw the, did he really say that, or it's been implied?
That's what he said. There's not an implication. The papers are carrying it, and it's not.
Okay, tomorrow they'll say the papers got it wrong.
No, he's not EFCC. He should concentrate.
He seriously doubts that.
I'm sure more people need infrastructure. They need better health. They need schools. They need roads.
Just not remove our statues, please.
They've broken them, so you should leave those ones. Statue is not the most important thing. What are his policies on health, education, and better things?
I didn't really like the fact that he was concentrating on saying this one did not do this, this did not. Just concentrate.
24 hours. Just
I'm telling you.
When he got in,
When he got in, it was as if he was attacking what the predecessor.
Okay, yes, that's true.
Rochas matter. Rochas did this.
All right. Unfortunately, well, you see, you should probe, you should review, because I mean, at some point, I hear you, makes sense, but I think we shouldn't also just sweep those things under the carpet. It's important that we get things right. But unfortunately, that's all we can take on front page review. Today, we're talking, we usually gist on Thursdays, but today, something very, very, would I use the word bothersome? For lots of parents, is trending. This issue of being a Marlian. A lot of families, youngsters, are identifying with this, and I would like to hear your thoughts. We plan to actually bring in experts at some point to help us understand this better, but we'd like to hear our viewers' thoughts on this Marlian identity. What does it mean? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, there's this notion that the term Marlian has gotten quite a bit of, a lot of youngsters these days, ranging from changing their social media handles to publicly wearing printed shirts identifying with this brand, and so on and so forth. A parent recently lamented on social media after discovering that her daughter does not put on her underwear since she joined the Marlian movement. Now, what are your general thoughts on this? As I said, we can't complete this conversation today because we're just giving our views. We'd like to hear your views, but at some point, we're going to bring in an expert. I know we invited someone today. Hopefully, the person gets here on time. If they don't, we'll try to schedule this again where they can bring in an expert to help parents on how to help teenagers through this process, because we've all been through this phase where something's in, I just want to be part of it, And yes, we went through it, but in this new age, we need to guide our youngsters. So you can call us on 070-80668014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We'd like to understand what you understand by being a Marlian and how you're dealing with it, especially if you have teenagers. And if you're a teenager or if you're a young person, you're watching, you'd like to join the conversation, let's hear your thoughts and why you think being a Marlian is good or bad. Let's just open the floor to hear views on this. I don't know who would like to go first. Mariam, go ahead,
yes.
please.
So the story that we're talking about, you are unable to sort of give.
Okay, you can help us out
so
with that.
this mother is saying that I brought up my child a certain way. Her father is an elder.
Yes,
I'm an elder. I'm a deaconess. So she grew up in a Christian home and has been brought up to be a certain way. And to find out that her child is part of this movement where they are rebelling against school authorities and things like that, she was really sad. The story most of the time is, how did you bring up your child?
Exactly.
If you brought up your child well, the child will not be doing this. But this is someone who's saying, I've done everything right.
Books, right.
And here, this is where I find myself. So the thing is, usually we used to think that there were markers for how a child would turn out. So if you were brought up in a house that is a broken home, or you suffered some form of poverty, maybe the child will end up being a bad person. And then if you grew up in a good house, wholesome upbringing, then you turn to be a good person. But I think
it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I think it never did, but we're just coming to that realization that a lot of factors come in, especially when a child gets to that teenage age. You go to secondary school, you're experimenting. Children will experiment. What is important is that you just keep doing that right thing. Just create that foundation for them so that even when they go out and they're making their mistakes, it will bring them back. Then secondly, there's that personality of a child. You bring up 5 children in the same home. One will just be different.
Always a Judas.
I'm telling you. So you see, so the thing is, it now shows that parenting can be done exactly for, for all the children. You have to pick each child by their personality. It's hard work being a parent. And
I know, and I'd like to hear your thoughts also, Nima, on this, because I know somebody in the US that her daughter came home with green hair, like her own. She didn't tell her mother, just came home one day, had bright green hair. She just took a picture, said, Morel, I think I need you to start talking to your niece. And I'm thinking, where do I even start from? I'm all the way in Nigeria. She doesn't know me like that close auntie. I cannot just start lecturing her. Yeah. I need to develop that relationship with her. But she was at that point where do I start this conversation from? Because you can't attack. If you do, you lose them.
Yeah, completely.
So where do you start? Say, okay, I understand your green hair. It's okay. She's like, I can't say that one, no. I said, okay, just take it easy. So, Nima, let me come to you. This issue of being a Marlian. How do you understand
the color of the hair doesn't really disturb the proper foundational values that you've given that child, I think you can put up with some. Because you see parenting, it's not like the child will exactly turn out. It's not a photocopy. Right. And you pass through the machine and the child just comes out the way you've raised them. In life, there are times. There was the times of the Bob Marleys, there was the times of the Fela Kuti, there's a time now of this young man, Naira Marley. Unfortunately, what he represents shows the decadence and degeneration of values in the society. And I say that with all sense of responsibility. It's shocking how parents do not bother about what exactly the issues are. Because a colleague of mine, a lawyer, was saying to me, I'm poor Marlian. I believe in his values. Thank you, UFCC, for making this guy popular. And I'm wondering, Oga, the issues, the core issues, you're missing the line. Anybody can be popular. I would love him if he was just popular. At the time, there was Prince back in law school. When they play his song, everybody would jump out of their room. Even I would jump. Even you? Yes. Then when there's this Ice Prince, Aboki, that's his song then. All of us in Abuja campus would jump out of our rooms if someone dares to play it in the hostel then. But if Ice Prince was being investigated for serious crimes like fraud, promoted, like in the case in question, you don't wear underwears. You drop your pants, you dress anyhow, you stand
just
for those
rebelling against the authority.
Now, Fela Kuti rebelled against corruption in his government. Now we use music to sort of accept corruption because corruption exists. That's what Malians do not understand.
We must remind ourselves, Fela also, the vices, aside from the corruption part, the vices of smoking,
had
drinking.
His personal excesses.
Yes.
His own personal one.
Because he was like a role model,
he didn't use
a lot of people followed suit.
No, he didn't use his song to say, you'll be shocked.
What you know?
When I was 16, I had a full, complete record of Bob Marley. And there's no tune of Bob Marley you play today that I will not resonate a verse or the chorus. Same as Fela, same as Lauryn Hill and Phil Collins. So it's not for the lack of knowledge of music that I'm talking. If at the point when I was growing up and I was very much aware of the kind of how do I want to turn out? I'm a teenager now, what exactly do I want to be in 20 years, in 10 years? When I was having those thoughts, which I'm wondering whether are these ones thinking the same thing? So if there was a problem of value promotion, it would be negating the training I had at home. Okay. I would not find it easy to manage.
Okay, I hear you.
But you find parents now who are asking their children, I don't know how you turned out like this, go to parties, and the child is standing next to you, and you are doing Teshumole. And you are doing all the dance.
The point I'm trying to make is
you
that,
forget the values.
Yes, Fela, fought against corruption, and a few others. But there were those vices, because he was a role model to a lot of people. A lot of young people, a lot of parents saw their teenagers leaving home to go and hang out in Africa Shrine. That's the truth of the matter. But you see, many of them today, we learned from what the lessons Fela taught us. But the point I'm trying to make is that in this, can we actually compare Naira Marley to a Fela?
No, guys,
I don't think so.
No, please.
I think I have to come in here. Truth be told, I'm a Marlian.
Okay.
And I have to tell you what we stand for. It doesn't mean that in school you have to go into court.
Okay.
Naira is just saying that it doesn't matter who you are. Okay. You can become something.
Okay.
It doesn't, that's what it is.
A lot of people don't get that message in his songs.
Yeah, but he cannot...
At what point do you get that message in his songs or in his character? Tell us.
No, the fact that when the EFCC arrested him, like, people did not really know about him until when that happened. Okay. So when he came out, like, his son, like, everybody, knew about him. And
is that a good thing?
No, it's it's not really because they've not yet, the trial is still, or they've not yet, like, if he's guilty, or yet. So it's just that the students in school now are now turning it to another thing.
Right.
But what he's trying to say is, you can become anything.
May I?
No, it doesn't matter who you are. Okay. Yeah, you can become something in future, like me and you.
Okay, the honest truth is there will be tweets of him saying some people should pull their pants down to walk,
And the promotion of
you know,
masturbation
yes,
in music.
yes,
Yeah,
and the dance step that he has that imitates, you know, whatever, what do you call it?
Masturbation.
Masturbation. So how does that? Please tell me. How does that tell you to become? How does that tell you to become or you can become a better person even if...
At that point, I don't understand that. But my own part is, like, you can become anything.
You see, you're mature enough.
Yes.
To tell the difference, to understand, to remove all the chaff, and know that, okay, yes, this is what I need to focus on, this being Marlian. But there are a lot of young kids that have very gullible minds. They see this young man as the role model. And when he's telling them to remove their pants, because a parent is complaining, her daughter removed her underwear to school.
Yes, Mondays, Fridays, and Wednesdays.
So if you're a Marlian, and I have totally nothing against that, what would you advise youngsters who are younger than you and are actually following Naira Marley to the T? What would you advise them to do at this point?
Like the part of taking off pants, I don't support that.
Okay.
The part of making it like a cult in school, like you have to remove your underwear to belong, that part I don't support. What I support is that no matter who you are, it doesn't matter the upbringing, it doesn't matter if you're a poor person, you are this, you're that, you can make it in life.
I think with
I'm a possible Naira Marlian.
No,
let me finish. I'm a possible Naira Marlian if he gets an acquittal. Hold on, I'll finish. And he chooses to now live an exemplary life such that his message will reform society. Because this is a young man who doesn't really care. His first album, Am I a Yahoo Boy, at the time when we were discussing internet fraud to the pain, he was paying us our bones, was making it seem like there's nothing there. It's just to hammer. If you make it, you make it, you make it. Making levity, taking levity, making serious of something that's serious, something that affected our image as a nation outside the country. So I'd like him to have, or his followers also, to have a proper, complex thinking of what exactly is the underlying message of all these tunes that we just dance to.
Right.
Because when you release an album now, you put a dance outside. All of them have done it. Davido created one. Everybody has done it.
Right. Let me quickly take this call.
You see, let's compare the two now to... Okay, finish.
Let me take Jude. Jude, are you there?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you very much for the program. Just this morning, I was thinking about this Marlian thing when I was taking my bath this morning. I think, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, what is the Marlian philosophy? What does it represent? If you go back, if you look at the music culture in America, you will see that it represents that culture of music and violence that Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. represents. This guy is coming with a different culture. And this culture is very antisocial to our own Nigerian and African culture here. Our musicians, none of them represent violence. None of them represent, what will I say now, crime and all of those. They actually sing and they kick against it. But this Naira Marley thing is a different culture that we need to nip at the bud. Look at how teenagers are addressing these days, like what you said now. It is not only them, or even adults call themselves Marlians, which is very funny.
Shock, they worry us.
And it is very, very sad. So we need to look, what is the philosophy? It is, from what I see, the actions. Okay, recently in the news, they said a case against him has been scrapped, a case of related to vehicles or something. You know, the case has been scrapped. But what does the guy represent? What does his action represent? And if it is antisocial to our own culture, I think we should nip it at the bud.
Thank you very much. We're going to go on a break because, and I like the fact that you took us to Tupac and Biggie, because those were not role models. A lot of people, yes, understand their philosophy, but I know during that period, a lot of this kind of campaign.
When we come back, I'd like to talk a bit about the Tupac.
And we'll discuss how it affected a lot of American youth also. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, before the break, a caller had mentioned something about Tupac and Biggie Smalls. And we were stupid because we had our own fella who was is a role model to a lot of Nigerians. But I would like you to, I like the angle Nima was taking this to, of how we can flip this. Yes, you can start with this negative energy, which many people
control
believe
a large number.
that the Naira Marley is generating. However, there's some way to flip. Let Nima tell us that point.
You know, Tupac, at the time when he was reigning then in America, there was gun running, there was drug, a lot of that was being promoted in his song. But fast forward towards before the time he was shot, Tupac started releasing songs that would reform the minds. There were philosophies in his song. He would talk about the past, what was this man that was killed in America then? No, not Biggie.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, and we refer to those, those freedom rights and all that. And he started reforming the mind of a young man who had a thought process. So it's possible, because Naira Marley controls a large number. I cannot even talk about the number here. The shocking fact is that even the state government, had endorsed him. We know that. But I would love a young man who sees this large crowd and wonder, in a number of years to come, would Nigerian youth just continue to be like this, or would they be right-thinking youth who can question a process of governance? Because you see this popularity thing that we all jump on, it's about the popularity that everybody is talking about now. I never met Fela. Till I got on the show and met Yeni Kuti, I didn't know about the family. But I listened to the song, and everything about the song just, is fact and true. And you couldn't question that. In today's day, there's a popular young man in Nigeria, if I'm allowed to make the comparison between Naira Marley's.
Let me pause you for a second. Let me pause first. The reason I want to pause you, because I remember growing up with Fela, with the song Fela. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that I don't want parents to totally judge their kids, because I remember the conversation is really about how to help parents today deal with this new fad.
It's about the
I remember listening to Fela. As a teenager, as a young kid, I never really understood the words. I understood what he was saying, but I didn't appreciate the freedom fighting part of it. It was just the fact it was cool to be listening to Fela, music, drinking, partying. It was just a fad at the time. But as we mature, you now listen to and appreciate the message he was trying to pass on. So the point is that a lot of parents today are scared of the content of Naira Marley's song, which is one. Now, there's a fear that because of he's saying ABC, he's endorsing certain vices. Parents are feeling that their kids will now be totally drawn into that lifestyle. That's an angle. Another angle is the personality of a Naira Marley, him as a human being, the way he dresses, the way he behaves, the vices he has. With my kids, the kind of tweets he throws out there, are my kids going to follow suit also? So aside from his songs, I like how to separate it. There's a Fela song comparison, which is you cannot compare it to Naira Marley, and far apart. But there's also the personality, the Fela as a person. He had his own vices too. Parents were scared of their teenagers following Fela. Why can't say this here herself?
But people did not like Fela at that time.
People did not want to date her because I'm a Fela, they run away. Because that was the personality he had then. Same thing, Naira Marley has the same personality, but today we are all celebrating Fela. So which is where I wanted us to do the comparison that, is it possible, as you said, rightly said, that this whole Naira Marley fad can be flipped such that we can see the positivity? Because you are saying that he's actually a role model where he teaches people to, you can be all that you can be. That's where I want us to take this conversation. So that parents know that, okay, how can I redirect this Naira Marley fad or this Naira Marley movement such that it actually benefits my kids? That was where I wanted to take this conversation to. Yes, Mariam.
I don't even know whether we should be using Naira Marley in any way to benefit your child. Maybe just as an example of what not to say, what not to sing, and what not to be.
Right.
I like the part where he talks about culture. So Naira Marley is becoming a culture. Tupac and Biggie stood for a culture of violence and killings between one side, west side, and east side. And it was something that happened after Tupac and Biggie died. Many people died after them, to perpetuate that culture. And so Naira Marley may have come out today just because he wants to make money, or he loves his music and the things he says and he believes in them. But it is for us, as one another. Like now I've met Blessing and she says to me she's a Marlian. And for the first time she explains to me an angle of Marley movement I'd never heard before, which is, it says that you can be a better person. But I have read tweets where he says it's better to have a bigger backside than to be a graduate. Do you understand? So that is the person that I know. I do not listen to his music. I know that he refers to Yahoo, and because of that, I haven't sat down to listen to his music, but I hear people constantly say this person is propagating bad behavior. Why would we then now, as a whole state, we have an event, we have an event, and then we put that same person to sing the same songs that we would not want our children to listen in our homes. And then we have adults who are dancing to it. So as a culture, we need to make sure that we end this as a culture. We need to separate it. Don't play it on the airways or put a 18+ something on it, And when children, maybe we can have a conversation with our children in school and explain to them the dangers of being this sort of person.
I mean, his music is called Afro Bashment. What does that mean? Then he said that, how do you know Marlians? No belt gang. Naira Marley himself gave his rule for admission into the Marlians group in the lyrics of Puta. I don't know what Puta is. He mentioned folks should adhere 0 belt, 1,000 trousers. So when you see young boys who don't wear belts, they're Marlians. These are little things that alcohol and drug consumer, almost all his videos glorify alcohol, hemp, drug, anti-blessed. I hope you're listening because he's your role model. This is I'm reading. Naira Marley called himself Igbo Labi, meaning hemp was born. Igbo Labi. Okay, Igbo Labi means hemp was born. A kind of explanation to say he was born to smoke weed. So you say he helps people to be what they can be. Please explain.
No, I'm not saying he helps. I'm saying that he's part of his songs. Yes. Yeah, he's just saying that I was nobody. I'm today.
Everybody sings that. Everybody, that's right. Our past president, everybody said that.
But do you know that even when she was talking about Fela,
right?
People did not, even the federal government did not appreciate Fela's songs at the time. They banned Fela and all that. Yeah. But today we are now appreciating Fela. Like everybody's now dancing Fela and shouting and all of those. So when it depends on how you listen, how you take the music, how you maybe like the students, I think they are doing too much about the music, like making it turn into a cult and all that. But this is something that is just young people actually do. Like they always go without belts and all that. So
let's talk about a recent thing that's happening in America. Remember R. Kelly, and almost everybody grew up on his songs and we loved him. But he's in jail today for what he did personally. And there's a movement, Mute R. Kelly. So in support of the victims of his life, where he was raping underage girls, and things like that, or sleeping with underage girls, people are refusing to listen to R. Kelly's song anymore. So we need to take a stand to as people. When we feel that our children would be, affected negatively, what do we do?
Exactly. Let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes.
Please help us understand. Go ahead. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You see, this issue of Marlian, as I'm seeing it, is that. What I see there is that, you see, most of these songs and the lifestyle that we used to see is that people like the right attitude to life, the right behavior, you understand? And when they see, once in a while, when you see some people that go out of the decorum, that go the other way, that go haywire, you understand? Some people seem to admire that, it's like somebody driving through the one way, and you saw that this person is moving, and you want to join. Some people just admire him because they see that thing he's doing is a careless life, and they see that he's having a headway, he's going. So some people are admiring that attitude, and they are admiring the way he's moving. That is what I see in there. Nothing big, no big deal. But for him, he can be called to order, you understand? To use that thing that he's doing now, to now shape those people that admire him by start to say something that can change their...
I missed that.
Ajibola made the point, a strong point about trends.
You're still there?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Let's reiterate.
So about trends. Yeah. So even if it's negative, people like to see rebellion trends. Yeah. So if you're on the one way, which is what we see, one person says, you made it through, nobody catch you. Okay, may I follow? Nobody catch you. And before you know, it becomes and that's how we break norms and start to do abnormal things, and and they become more popular. Yeah. And they become more popular. So it's still about popular negativity That's what we see.
But is it a phase?
No,
Does it last?
I wish it was.
Always, people, Nigerians always like negative things. It trends more, even on social media. Once they say a negative thing about you, that's the one that trends. But if you do a good thing, do empowerment, do everything for people, it will not trend. Even the blogs will not carry. But once you do something bad, you see that all the blogs should be carrying everything and all that. So maybe you just check like, what am I going to do? Not like it's his character. You could just say like, let me just see what is going to trend, what I'm going to make money on. And then he could come up with that.
Then you can later turn around and
then
be a good girl. Yes, you can later.
It's just that
some people became
our
popular, posting nudes, and then today they wear clothes. I wanted to talk about. One of the ills that we are forgetting to promote, to object to, is that in the Marlian world, you're a drug. You lose focus. You're not in your normal senses. You're intoxicated. What that song promotes is that at the soapy point, you're not in your right. When Olamide released Science Student, and we did that, I remembered my stand on it, that hey, we should be careful, because when these things become acceptable, there'll be a major problem. So now you're on the Lagos road, you're wondering why somebody is driving into you. Sure, Rironi, an average Nigerian, then they were promoting songs that, Mofo Loke, all sorts of ills were promoted there, and they were becoming acceptable, so that we'll have a show and someone will say, well, I'm a realist, and I've not gotten over you, princess, I'm watching you seriously.
All right,
understand?
but you see, Marlians also believe that you don't graduate, you have to drop out. So that's a problem for parents. So I want us to, let's not, I really wish we had an expert, because we actually got somebody to help us out with the parenting here, but unfortunately that person couldn't make it. It would have been great to have that angle, because the issue is we've identified, we've defined a Marlian. We understand what they're trying to project, and we agree that maybe it's not the right approach. However, let's talk to parents today, putting ourselves in their shoes and knowing that you were once a teenager. Yeah. You were once a teenager. There was a time I was a lesbian. I said it on the show. I was wearing gangster, I wear big boots, shirts, and I did my, I acted like a boy for a long time. It was a period I just felt, I'm not straight anymore. I've been hanging out. There's a lady on the first floor in my school there. Her name is Susan. She was the queen of that gang. And I was there with her. We used to hang out. My brother had to call me and see, wait. Who do you think you are? Removed all these baggy trousers for me, shirts, and threw them out. Yeah, girl, what's all this rubbish? So somebody spoke sense into my head. So it's a phase. Yeah. So how do we help parents today to walk through this? We're not experts, but we'd like to share your thoughts. I'd like our viewers to call in. If you're a parent and you have experience in this, please call in so that parents who are going through this can have some kind of guidance on what to do. And maybe, yes, so that's
the easiest one. Pray. God, we need to pray.
So that's what I was saying earlier. You see, secondary school, that's when you're becoming a teenager. Right. So we're saying from about 12, 13, and we know that stage in our lives is the stage where we want to rebel against everything that we have been taught. If we're waking up first thing in the morning in your house, that is when you want to wake up very late at night to just show. I remember in my house, you could not take, you just take enough milk that you wanted. But the moment I got to secondary school, where I would have a tin of milk, it was my way of rebelling, you understand? But concerning music and things like that, I remember this particular song, and at the time was a very bad song by a lady called Adina Howard. And at that time, you would have like a cassette player, and then you copy it, or a CD player, and then you copy the lyrics in your book. I copied it. My friends and I would sing it. Everybody that was cool would sing it. So even you that is not cool, you try to sing it so that it can be accepted. And then I took the book home. Unfortunately for me, my mother saw the song. So he was saying all sorts of sexual things. My mother, am I raising a prostitute? For me, her reaction towards it made me feel, I didn't realize it's such a big deal. But for me, because I really respect my mom and how, what she expects of me, I wanted to always please her. And I thought, if this is so bad that my mom reacted this way, then I have to stop it. Okay, we're going to go. And so maybe that is I'll let you talk. Our parents need to do that more often. They need to stand especially on what they believe in. And that's what their children will eventually. Okay, I'll let you start. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, I'll let you start. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Blessing had a point. Go ahead, please.
Okay, a lot of parents will like what the the parents of this girl now said, I'm a Christian, my husband is a pastor. It does not follow all of those. You need to monitor your child. It doesn't matter if you do morning prayers, if you go to church on Sunday, you say, it does not matter. You have to follow up on your child. There are some things that you won't allow your child to do. There are some things that maybe like all these songs that they are playing, and maybe like a parent, you are doing new, maybe like say you're designing something, you allow your child to see some kind of things. No, you should not, because whatever he or she learns from you is going to take outside. There's some children that.
But in this situation, the woman she's a deaconess or she's a child of God. So are you saying that where did that child learn these things from?
Yeah, what I'm saying is from school. Obviously, it's from school. But there was a space between the communication between the child and the mother. It does not depend because she's a Christian or she did not follow up on the child. Right. Because definitely you see a trace of all those misbehavior from her coming back to the house.
Some kids are smart.
I've learned
hide things.
Yes, I've learned something from my parents' mistake. So having a strict home for a child and just reeling out rules might be good. Work. It might work for some people, but it really doesn't work. So growing up, we're not allowed to chew. We're not allowed to keep certain friends. We're not allowed a lot of things. But fast forward into our teenage age, I think my dad was working in Eket in Akwa Ibom at the time. And he realized that if these people are not allowed to test and balance, and so that we're there rightly always guiding that, hey, this thing that you have tested more, this is the possible consequence, things will go out of hand. By the time I wrote my GC in 2008, it was at a center on the mainland, Martin Street in Balogun Market. I remember that the first girl I saw chewing gum, she looked like something I wanted to be. She had her braids all the way to her waist. She looked somehow, she chewed and she made the pass bubble sound that I really wanted. All my life I could not achieve it. The moment she was able to give me one Sprint gum and I got it, till date, that's my guilty pleasure. When I'm in my car, I want to be alone just so that I can cuss. I'm pregnant, I want to be chewing gum and hearing myself. So you can relate it to an excess that the child has. If you take it totally away, you don't let that child even test it. Some people will take their child to a totally religious school and the child will turn out a problem. We went to unity schools those days and we had girls I had girls in school, we know they were already doing lesbianism back in secondary school. So I'll come home with all the examples and say, Mommy, my friends do this. So she then had a way to put it home. So she made sure she was our friend and then she put it home. By the time my dad comes back, she'll put it and we'll have a talk about it. It's not that we will not test it at all. The thing will just happen to me all of a sudden. That all of a sudden effect can cost the parents.
Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Akin from Ibadan.
Akin, go ahead, please.
Yeah, from Ibadan.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you see, the issue with this Marlian, I have my children calling themselves Marlian. If you one day I have to see them and see what I can do to correct them. But I have to now collect the song of Naira Marley myself and listen to them. Okay? Because I found out that, okay, this guy is not really saying bad thing or giving bad influence to these children. Okay. I now call them. I allow them to start listening to Naira Marley. Because even their phone, if you look at their phone, it's full of Naira Marley. If you stop them from listening to Naira Marley, one thing you are doing now at the school or in order among their peers, you don't know what they are doing. So as parents, I think what we need to do is to ensure that our children are given special education at home to know between what is wrong and what is right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like that. I'd like to take a few tweets, Maria. Because go ahead.
So there's this tweet. Ima the Maverick says, you people don't understand nothing about being a Marlian. He motivates in terms of letting us know that even though we are battling addiction, we can still be someone. And it's normal, that motivates us. Now the negative trend that he is trying to say, like Blessing originally said, although I think you're wavering on that stance now. You know, like there is a message of okay, you're an addict struggling with addiction. We know usually in our own client.
Society has judged those people who are addicted, and this Naira Marley is giving them some kind of
so
hope.
it's giving them kind of hope that even through your addiction, you can come out of it and make something of yourself.
Become a good person.
So that's why we need to have the conversation with children in school. So this particular story where the girls were caught to be in this particular cult, Marlian cult, were suspended. I think that they should sit down and say, okay, you guys, let's have a Marley conference.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let's know why it's attractive to you and why we think it's not attractive to you.
Let's dissect the lyrics.
Let's dissect
just
the
like this
lyrics
father
and
just
let's
said.
dissect the tweets.
Suspension doesn't.
So the parents, instead of totally disciplining those kids, just like this parent did, listen to the lyrics. And because if you don't do that, they will listen to it behind your back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning, madam. Go ahead, please.
I like the way we're saying this morning.
Yeah.
You cannot underestimate the fact that Naira Marley is trending at the moment, and a lot of youth want to join in. But I don't think we should condemn it in full. What is the guy saying? What is the philosophy all about? I don't think Naira Marley is anything new that we've not witnessed. We've witnessed it in the past, whether in Fela or in a lot of guys that sang in the past. I don't even think he's actually promoting so much of the bad vices. Like somebody sang about Sophie. He's saying rather than you rape someone, you go inside your room and do this thing.
Really?
He's saying he's been in the prison. This is what people do. They bring what exists in our society and we try and act like it's not there. Sagging is not Naira Marley that brought sagging. Not wearing belt is not Naira Marley that brought it.
What of dropping out?
It's been in our existence.
Dropping out of
He's
school.
just thinking about what it is around. There are lots of us don't even know about. He's saying he's not a Yahoo boy. So how does that become a bad vibe?
Well, he advised that you don't graduate, you drop out. Is that
He
fine?
doesn't sing that in his song.
But
I don't think he has any particular verse that said, oh, don't go to school. No. The last song is Teshimole. What is the meaning of Teshimole? They are even singing it in church. I'm not saying Naira Marley is the saint or is anything, whatever. But some of these guys are bringing to the fore what exists in our society.
Point taken. Thank you so much, madam. Let's go on a quick break, then we'll take some more tweets. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to take a few tweets. Yes.
Okay.
We're going.
So Dimanshe says, speaking of Tupac and the likes, let's not forget that Tupac had a trend too, named West Side, which was just a trend and later became a group black folks who believe in the same idea and lifestyle. Being a Marlian is also just a trend. Sheyi Benson says, most Nigerians prefer negativity. Nigerians hate conformists. Explains why all the better quality people in character in the last BB Nigeria house, most people chose Mercy and Thatcher. It's our way, unfortunately. Oluyomi Elegbede says, so was saying one who is trained will always strive to get better, which I think all the ladies in your view will be doing because you definitely have some training. Even the show is a form of training and that compels you guys to want to get better and will not, grow a child like that. Emeroye Christiana says, train up a child in the way he should go and when he grows old, he will not depart from it. If you don't show your child the way he chooses his own way or follows his peers, I think we need to get back to the traditional ways of raising kids.
Let me take this call. I'll call continue from you. Go ahead, please. Good morning.
Hello, good
Thanks
morning.
for calling, sir. Go ahead, please.
I'm Olamide. I'm calling from Keja.
Hi, Olamide.
So, following what the last speaker said, I think Bimbo, Marlian is not really a cult per se. I think it's just a guy who is trying to pass information in his own way, trying to speak about social vices. Because this thing is better we speak about them rather than ignoring them. These things are happening. Talk about Sophie, who I was talking about, pleasuring oneself. He just came out of detention that time, and there is usually sexual frustration and stuff like that inside those kind of facilities. So those are the kind of things he was trying to speak about because we don't talk about things like this, and we need to talk about them, and this was the most catchy way that I could do that, you get.
Interesting. Yes.
Okay, so Akimbode says, please can you bring the Naira Marley guy to your show? Questions around his influence on the youth and teens can be raised. Also, questions about a legacy he's trying to leave behind can be raised. In 10 years from now, can his songs still be relevant? And, you know, that's another thing I want to... We're talking about Fela, you know, earlier, and we're saying his message at the time, his personality, or the person that he was, he seemed to have had a life that was not, a personal life that was not so appealing. But over the years, he has a legacy with his songs and his family, you know. But the Naira Marley songs, the message that he sends, would it have the same impact in many years to come? Naira Marley also, I just heard that he has a master's, you know, I've just been informed that he has a master's. So this is someone, I saw this particular tweet where it says it's better to be a dropout or have big backside than to be a graduate. And this person already has a master's. He's also a family man with 2 children. I would like to find out if his 2 children are in school or out of school. Do you understand? So sometimes in our craze because the previous caller said, you know, what he's saying makes sense. The songs that he's singing we sing them in church. Just be careful. Don't let people use yourself. Don't let people use your children to make money. If Naira Marley is deciding to do this while living a decent personal life, he's using to raise money. You know, sometimes they say they're doing ritual killing. They carry people's head and do ritual killing. There's the one that they don't have to kill you.
People live.
They'll be making money on your head.
I'm telling you.
Meanwhile, they're using that money to raise their family better. So let's be careful.
Let me take. I'll come to you, Nima. Let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there? Hello,
Good morning.
are you there? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please, Laja. You're live, please, go ahead.
My submission is this. Let fathers and mothers be the friend of their children.
Very important.
Hello?
We can hear you very well.
Very important.
Okay. We have to be a friend to our children. The problem we have nowadays is that these children will always have a way of letting out steam. That's the normal thing. And if you don't allow them, they will find a way of doing it. It is better to allow them do it under your care, with your control.
So if you guide.
If you don't do that, you are just joking. I remember when I was very young. I remember one Reverend Shokpe Johnson. He introduced Soul Goes to Church. And we discovered that the church became full because children of those era, they wanted to dance in the church. They wanted to let loose in the church. And if you can control the letting loose, it will be better. But if you don't want them to do it at all, it's a big problem.
Thank you very much, Laji. That was a point you made. I was going to come to that, but let me let Nima.
So in today's times, I didn't want to listen to this generation of musicians for a long time. But then, at the this TV awards, no, the Black TV in the US, BET Awards, Burna Boy's mom steps on stage to take an award on his behalf. And Nigerians were saying he don't go do something. That's why he was not available, because he was at that venue. But when he was called, they called him, and then the mother stepped on stage to take his award. When I listened to how the quality of conversation the mother was saying on his behalf, the deep thought process that she had put into the speech she gave, I went to get the next album. Because for that woman to raise a boy, that boy will turn out well. It's always about content. So people should not just, it's not about trends all the time. Always question the trend. What's the philosophy behind this trend? How many, in 2, 3, 20 years time, how many of us would like to belong to that trend? Is this trend costing us? Is fraud, international fraud, and being associated with Nigeria, is it costing us as a country? Is it costing our young people their businesses and business opportunities across the world? Is drug and intoxication, misdirecting our children. Those are the philosophies. And when a person wants to promote those things, it should give us a headache. Yeah. It should cost us.
Okay, let me just use this.
Okay, this tweet that just sort of makes your point. Raizul Obochi says Naira Marley is basically confused and has no philosophy. I see him as a businessman who is taking advantage of the already rotten society to sell a craft that the society will rush to buy or practice. There's nothing new out of Naira Marley's lyrics.
Exactly. The last caller, Elijah, said something that struck me, because I remember growing up, although my mother hated this, but my stepmother introduced us to alcohol early. Okay. And when you have a headache, I have a headache, just a small cup of Hennessy like this, pew, that idea could fly away. You just go and sleep.
How old were you?
I was a kid. But my mother hated the fact that I come and say, like, they gave us Hennessy. You know. But as I grew up, I went out to parties, and it wasn't a big deal. I was familiar with Hennessy. So when people tried to offer me, I was able to say, no, I'm done. I've had it. I'm done with that. So sometimes when you let your kids do certain things under your roof, you have a bit of control. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but there's certain vices you see that rather than just totally banishing it, it might actually have a flip. And on the flip side, one thing my father taught was character. You see, when you teach a child the strength of character, no matter what life throws at that child, he knows to say no. You might go through a phase. I know the time I was bouncing, I think I was a boy, bouncing.
You'll come back.
So you always come back. Character gives you that stretch. You can do whatever you want, but you come back home because that is how you grow. So as we round up, we must remind parents, build in your child strong character, sense of who they are. Once they know, if they like, let them do hemp. Then after a while, they'll fight by themselves. They'll eat the face. Because I have people
also psychologist, Dr. Yewande Oshodi, let me quote her, has said that, you know, if a child lives for the first 18 to 21 years of his life without tasting any form of intoxicant, and the closest is the alcohol, just because, you know, you were able to flip it, most children don't, they would never be, you know, prone to drugs. One of the ways to curb it is to never protect that child from it and let the child always see the people who are the negative consequences.
That's another angle. Yeah. So we have to wrap up, but that's all we can take. But I'd like to say a few things about your business. So
before then, I want to talk about Naira.
Please go ahead, very quickly.
I want to say that his character does not portray his song. Like, he has kids that we're saying and all that. He's trying to reach out to those that do not have hope. Like those guys outside, those other people that are outside,
like masters,
he's trying to say that you can make it in life. This other, he said, step on the Satan and all that. Like that lady was saying that they are now singing it in song. Take the positive aspect of his song.
Okay.
Leave the negative aspect.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Marlian. All right. Tell us about what you're working on.
Okay, so like I said before, I'm an entrepreneur. I also empower people, like young ladies, to do business.
Yes.
I actually am a business person. So right now, I'm concentrating on my restaurant in Lagos. So I'd like to...
Please, I want to come and take this seafood pepper. Is it pepper soup or
fisherman
is it soup?
Fisherman. Yeah. It's a fisherman soup. You know, we use the fish from the river, not like all this fertilizer kind of fish. Yeah.
Okay, so it's organic.
It's organic fish that we use. Everything about our restaurant is organic. Like people with health. Yeah.
You have prawns, you got calamari.
Yeah. A lot of different kinds of fish. Red sniper, barracuda, all the seafood.
Oh, it's fish.
Yeah, fish, all the fish. Yeah, we try to bring in organic things. Yeah, so.
We gotta go. Thank you so much. All right, so I have to wrap up, but you see, we have not exhausted this Marlian movement conversation because we're supposed to have an expert. So we'll try to bring in somebody as soon as possible. I can't promise tomorrow, I'm not sure which day, but we're bringing a parental expert to help parents know how to help their teenagers, especially through this phase. And the adults that are Marlians too. Psychologists will come and help us how we can recalibrate your brain.
So that you'll be an adult again.
Can be an adult again. Have a family day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.